I had a client who looked on the sand in Marina del Rey. It was 2-story, it was 4 bedrooms, gigantic. Underneath on the first floor, you had some little old lady who's been there and paying like $2,000 a month. You'd have to pay a gazillion dollars to get them out. And the agent, who's also the owner, like said, oh, that's your problem. And he wants the highest number. So it's still sitting on the market.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to We Fixed Real Estate. Today, we've got a packed house today. We've got Mark Levy, our San Diego representative. We've got Precious Star up from San Francisco. We have Jen May covering the East LA. That doesn't sound right. You're not East LA. Arcata, the foothills. And we have Fred from the coastal section of Marina del Rey. And me, Drew. So we have a roundtable conversation here. We were kind of brainstorming different ideas. Let's talk about end of the year. Preparing. I know, Precious, you were talking about 1031 exchanges. When someone buys a house, sells a house, they have a certain period of time to reallocate those funds into the next investment. Why don't you give us a rundown on that?
Okay. I only know this in theory. I just started 9 weeks ago. So I know that now's the time to sell.
It's about 10 weeks, by the way.
10 weeks.
You're in double digits.
Thanks for counting, Fred. Thank you so much. So I'm not off the hook because I had that extra week. Is that what you say?
Yeah, pretty much. You should know everything. Well, you just type in ChatGPT and I'll tell you.
I'm on my phone currently, so I can't do that.
Okay.
So from what I understand is that now's the time to buy. So you're avoiding capital gains tax. That's going to happen come tax year, which I'm not looking forward to. That's not going to be very fun for me, but that's okay. So people could definitely go the 1031 exchange. There is a certain time limit to how you can do that. And I think Fred is an expert given, our recent conversation. So I think he should go over the timelines on that.
Well, here's really the bottom line. What this whole 1031 does is for your investment property only, let me just tell you this, is that you sell a property and instead of paying capital gains at this point, you buy one or more properties that are equal to or more than the property that you sold. Now, it can be any kind of real estate. It could be land. It could be commercial. Doesn't really matter as long as it's real estate. So it's a matter of people thinking about diversification. Let's say they own 3 multifamilies in San Francisco and the laws are crazy. They don't want tenants anymore. They get rid of this property and they buy, a warehouse in San Bernardino, that the cartel rents from them at a nice price. So, but eventually you're going to have to pay taxes. So here's the other theory. The flip side of all this is that you sell now or next year and pay the capital gains, because the way things are looking, the current administration has given everybody the lowest amounts they're ever going to get. It's not going any lower. And if it flips, the Democrats are going to want to raise money, raise taxes. Maybe capital gains is one of those ways. So it's just my personal opinion. I don't think capital gain taxes are going to go any lower. If you're going to hold it for another 20 years or put it in a trust so your kids get it and all that kind of stuff's a different story. But if you're selling, you might want to do it. Let's also talk about, while we're on the subject of capital gains, is primary residences. There are people out there who've owned their house for a gazillion years. They talk to a real estate agent about selling the property, but what they're not told and what they should check on is if they're going to have capital gains and how much it's going to be. It's obviously long-term capital gains if you own it over a year. And here's the thing. If you're over 55, you get a one-time exemption on the capital gains tax, $250,000 if you're single, $500,000 if you're married. And I think I heard something that either went up or they're thinking about raising that number. But then let's say you buy another house and then you sell it and you replace it just like you did in the last one. Well, guess what? You're going to pay tax on that next one, no matter what it is. You can only use that exemption one time. So what happens is somebody sells the house they bought for $100,000 30 years ago, and now they're selling it for $2 million. And they adjust their basis, and let's say they got $1.7 million of capital gain, and they're going to buy a $200,000 condo somewhere in Costa Rica to retire. Well, guess what? You're going to pay the tax on that number because it's not exempt because you're not replacing it with something else. So that one-time thing.
Right.
So when you're going to list your property, check to see if you're going to owe capital gains tax. That's very, very important on an owner occupant. Same as second home. Second home, you don't have any waivers. It's only for primary residents. If you're selling a second home, you're going to have tax, and you can't 1031 a second home. So there's some food for thought, kids.
You can't 1031 your primary residence either.
No, 1031 is specifically for investment property and investment property only.
As far as capital gains, though, I mean, there's in past episodes we talked about always recording everything you put into the house, every improvement you've made,
right? Because
you can really knock off a lot of those perceived gains by showing what you put into it.
Yeah, any closing costs you have going in, going out, plus any improvement you made. Not like, hey, a plumber came over for $30 and adjusted my pipe. It's like, hey, I put in a whole bathroom, which for $50,000. That counts as your basis. So you add that to the sale price plus the closing costs of when you bought it. So that adds up. So you can subtract that amount from the sale price plus the closing costs on the way out.
And if I can interject, I was just thinking about the exemption, as far as primary residence. If I'm not mistaken, that happened during the Clinton administration. So it's a little bit dated on the actual exemption amount, because originally it was, $250,000 and $500,000. That was a lot of money back then. Mm-hmm. But now there's talk about doubling that, right? But whether or not that's going to ever get approved, that's a whole other situation, political situation.
But the bottom line is, if you're ready to sell, check on that and remember to put that money aside when you close.
So you're basically be benefiting just for that transaction and not necessarily for the next, is what you're saying. But it could benefit someone that is in that like kind of in between, and maybe, they're doing that, but after they're sticking with the property, would that be more beneficial for that type of person?
Again, it depends. I don't think capital gains taxes are going to get any lower. But by the way,
so you don't think it's
let's say you
beneficial at all?
Well, it depends on the person. Everybody's going to be different. Now, let's say you have this capital gain. You can offset that gain against capital losses. So if you decide, you bought Bitcoin at 120 and now it's at 90, sell it. You have a capital loss. Let's say it's over a year. The long-term capital loss that you can offset against the long-term capital gain. You can buy that Bitcoin back, and I believe the statute is 10 days. Don't quote me on that, but you can buy it back. So early December is a good time to sell it, to accumulate your losses so you can buy it back, or you wait till next year to buy it back. Stick it in cash. So planning is important. And it's all about getting with your tax professional and doing it before you sign a listing contract, people. It's a big question. I always ask any prospective sellers.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that fleshes it out a little bit.
There you go.
Next time we'll talk about Prop 19.
We should go we should have a prop show. Every prop.
People want to know. People want to know.
California prop show. It's a totally separate podcast, but just talk about each proposition from the very beginning.
Why not?
Yeah, why not? Exactly. There you go. You want to get bored to death? There you go.
No, we'll make it fun. We'll make it fun.
We'll make your proposition.
We'll make it fun.
I don't know how they number these propositions, because we just went through Prop 50 today. In the last election was Prop 50, but there's definitely been more than 50 props. So,
well, they don't name every star. They just started putting numbers and random letters. So, I mean, if they're not naming every star, why would they make this any special? So I'm just saying.
Because you got physicists to take care of that, who are logical people.
R, X, T star at this latitude. It's like, come on, just name it.
No, well, it wasn't discovered by a person. The person who discovers it gets the name.
The star should have a name. A star should have a name. And I
I
said
will
what
tell
I
you
said.
though, the propositions are numbered by the decade that they're used in, and they reset in 2030. We're going to go back to Prop 1
Oh.
again.
Wow.
Wow, interesting
Look,
little
you impressed,
GPT
Fred.
thing that you read while waiting around.
Oh, someone's going to add some value here. So yes,
You know,
between
okay,
2010 and 2019, they only got up to 77. Between 2020 and 2029, the current cycle started over in 2020.
that's silly and stupid. Anyway,
What's
So-
new with our government?
I do have something else to talk about. It's just on rental property. I was talking to a person who is a landlord who's got 3 units, and her tenant of like 12 years just moved out. And so she said, so, I want to interview the clients. I want somebody quiet. I don't want any children.
Oh no.
Like,
Discrimination.
No.
Yeah, don't say that. Don't write it either.
He has no idea. Here's what I suggested to her. I said, I could sit here and tell you all the rules, but I want you to go home. And she was an older woman who had never done it. I said, download ChatGPT. Go in there and first of all, tell them who you want them to be, meaning I'm the greatest lawyer for rentals in Los Angeles or whatever. And then tell them exactly everything about your situation and ask them what you should and shouldn't do. You're going to thank me for this. You know
But
what?
do they live there? They live on site?
No.
Okay.
But anyway, it's a recommendation for people who maybe aren't up to date on things or don't know about what something like AI can do for you. And it's really cool. I mean, she's going to go. She hasn't come back. I'll update you next week. But she thanked me. She's not a computer person. Most of these people like that aren't. But it's going to give them real answers like a real person would. So you don't have to go around and ask your cousin who owns a property. Or, you know what I mean? Everybody asks everybody's advice and you end up getting 17 different pieces of advice and they're all wrong in one way, shape, or form. This way it puts you on the track. So if you're somebody in this situation, you own a property or two, you do it yourself, you manage it yourself, find out what you're doing right and wrong.
Yes. And then you could also get in a lot of trouble if you're saying, no, you can't do that.
Mark, what's new with you?
Boy, that's an open-ended question for sure, Drew.
It's not a hard one.
No, it's not. It kind of realigning after a really nice weekend, which was good. I think going into December probably is a really good time, for people that are interested in buying, right? They're thinking about it. This is probably one of the best times of year, I think, to get out there and start looking and seeing what kind of deals are happening. There's a lot of favorable scenarios right now. Interest rates are probably helping the cause because they haven't dropped dramatically. And I think that really, if putting the message out there that if you are considering buying next year, now is the time to be getting out there before the herd.
Yeah. I feel that too. If people are like, when is the best time? I'm like, now. It's a holiday. And if, most of the sellers on the market right now are trying to price to move. It's just before the holidays, just before the New Year. So yeah, definitely now.
Yeah. I think it's a big advantage. But yes, it is the holiday. There's a lot of stuff going on. So if you've got that window, take the opportunity, get out there and get on the internet and see what looks good and pick out a couple and go check them out.
We have a buyer who's looking at a TIC, tenant in common. Look it up, kids. Look on ChatGPT to tell what that is.
Oh my God.
It's a regular single family house, but the ownership is everybody because there's 3 or 4 units. I don't know what it exactly is. I can't remember. But it happens a lot in San Francisco. It's kind of like a condo, but it's not because there's no title insurance you're going to get. There is a deed for the particular unit, but everybody kind of owns the whole place with stock. And
Interesting.
transaction.
Oh, wow.
So, this guy who's had the listing now, I think 4 months, we had made an offer and they countered it some ridiculous thing. And the agent says to me, well, the owner's very emotional. So we finally decided, okay,
Okay.
what I'm going to do. I'm going to call my buyer. Let me add, my buyer also said that the agent said that the seller wants to meet with the prospective sellers, prospective buyers. And it's like, I wrote him today. I said, look, here's our bottom line. This is the last offer we're going to make. And your seller's not meeting with the buyers because
Wow.
if you didn't like what they look like or their religion or something, he would just not sell to them. You can't do that. And the guy's moving. He's not going to be living there. So it's another form of discrimination. And the agent was too stupid to know that this is wrong and tell a seller no, and also get a seller off the emotional stuff. It doesn't matter, dude. It's a business transaction. And that's what we try to push here at Arrivva. This is a business transaction. I know a lot of realtors want to become your best friends, go out to dinner on Saturday. It's great, whatever. But the bottom line is, it's a business. This is a transaction. That's why I'm a pain in the ass when I represent you to the sellers and sellers agents to get you the deal you want, because it's just a business transaction. That's all it is. So
Yeah, that's
anyway,
awkward too. That's very
don't-
awkward.
if you're a seller, do not talk to buyers. Okay, you might get sued because you just ignore their offer, and then they sell it to someone who's the same ethnicity as them, and they didn't sell it to you, and they sold it to them at a better price. Guess what? I got hundreds of lawyers salivating over that one. And not only is the seller going to get sued, but the agency is going to get sued for allowing it. So just don't do it.
So I have a juicy one, and you might not have the opinion that I have. So my first ever listing, I was going to potentially show. I went to go look at the listing, and it was a duplex, and it was two apartments, and these people lived in this apartment. And what I didn't know is, at least in San Francisco, you cannot make these tenants leave unless, one, you pay them out, or two, you get them lawfully evicted through the judicial system. Those are the only two ways they cannot leave.
Good luck with that.
Yeah. So number one, with the first one, they could potentially be paid out, but the second one is protected class. So you can't even, unless you go through a whole situation and they were problematic. And I told the guy, I was like, personally speaking, I think this is a big moving part that unless you have experience with, I'm like, if that's something you're comfortable with, it's something you dealt with before, yes, sure, I'll show you the property. But if this is not something you've dealt with or even experienced, it could be very complicated, to say the least. And also the people that would be exiting, the other tenants, would only be paying $2,300 per month for their side. That's all you would be making after this transaction, plus whatever you had to pay per month for your mortgage fees. But what's your opinion on those duplexes that are occupied, and how would you go about
You mean live in one and rent out the other?
Yeah, so it's either that or you're just buying. What would your opinion on those in general?
Well, yeah, you have to have kahunas to understand, especially in San Francisco. San Francisco and LA, the two big cities, are going to be the worst.
They're crazy here. Tenants have it's good on the tenant side, but I've also been the landlord, and you have to go through. I've had to evict a roommate before, and let me tell you, that wasn't easy.
No, it's crazy. So, if you have somebody who's been paying for 10 years and has income and keeps the place nice, okay, fine. You just have to do your numbers based on that. Now, remember, the seller's doing their numbers based on the fact that somebody's going to have to buy and deal with what these prices are.
Exactly.
Pro forma rents of, $10,000.
Yeah, and you couldn't even, in San Francisco, there's a lot very protected, rent control. And not just that, it's talking to them, they're oh, it's from my girlfriend. My girlfriend would live in one of them because I would be able to make them leave. And I'm about that, it doesn't quite work that way.
You don't
doesn't quite work that way. That was, so
get it.
Yeah, they decided not to go view the place. I don't blame them. That just sounded like a landmine, because they also had some court stuff between the two of them. They also had additions on the property that was illegal. And it's just why would anyone buy that?
At the right price, anything sells.
Really? No, but what would be the right price?
Oh,
It depends on how much you have to pay to relocate how much you have to pay them out.
Exactly. Oh my God, they were not in that place. I don't believe that they were remotely in that place. I just thought they would just ask someone to leave and just move in.
I had a client who looked on the sand in Marina Del Rey. He had a 2-unit. The upstairs owner's unit was gorgeous. It was 2-story. It was 4 bedrooms, gigantic. But underneath on the first floor, you had some little old lady who's been there and paying like $2,000 a month. She's been there probably since she was born or something. You'd have to pay her $1 gazillion to get them out. And the agent, who's also the owner, like said, "Oh, that's your problem." And he wants the highest number. So it's still sitting on the market because he's arrogant.
Well, you're going to keep that property for much longer than you want to. And that's on you.
Yes, exactly. Pretty much.
That's on you.
So
that's fun. That's probably one of the most shocking things I've learned in the last 10 weeks of being in real estate. It's kind of like shocking to me. I'm like, why would you even do that unless you had lots of money to get them out?
Can you Ellis Act a duplex or just a single family?
No, you can. The Ellis Act is even for multifamily units that you want to make into condos, but you have to wait 5 years.
Whoa.
Which is ridiculous. And then you have to go back to the people who you rented to and give them right of first refusal to buy the condo unit.
Oh, wow. So that's the cause.
It's stupid. And
it would take like 7 years to get a outcome.
Here's the problem. You'd probably have a lot more condo conversions if you didn't have the Ellis Act, and you help housing sales, but you kill rentals. And the rental prices would go up because there'd be less properties available, and people need more help with lower price rentals than they do lower price condos for sale. There's enough condos out there. San Francisco would be great for this condos things, but got to wait 5 years.
5 years. That seems excessive.
Yes.
I
What
should
they're trying to do is prevent it from happening. You got to pay taxes and insurance and maintenance for 5 years and have the building completely empty.
Okay. Well, 5 years. And then there's a whole process of offering it to the tenant. And how long does a tenant have to respond?
Yeah.
You know how long that is? And then you get to respond and then you go back and forth. And then it's going to be longer than 5 years. It'd be more like 7 to 8 years.
Could be. Who knows? But it's crazy. They did 5 years at least to prevent it from happening. They did 5 years.
Interesting. Okay.
There you go.
That's something to know.
There are going from what Precious was talking about into the Southern California duplex market. There are quite a few here in Encinitas. It was a very common practice to build them in the 80s. And, now what I'm seeing is people are actually, remodeling these places that are really run down. They buy them, run down, and remodel them and live on one side.
Mm-hmm.
And you've got the other side, and it covers, pretty big chunk of your mortgage. So there's some huge benefits to that here. There still are some that need some love, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
There's still, a handful of them, but I've seen a big shift in really old, rundown, held together with duct tape and chicken wire to these beautiful duplexes.
So you think it's more beneficial to buy a duplex or something like generally has at least one unit open? Is that what you're saying?
Well, I'm saying if you have an opportunity to buy the entire, like a 2-unit duplex and the old rundown, buy it at a good price, and you're either have connections in the construction industry or you're in construction, it's a huge, huge opportunity.
Okay. Given that there was one open, right?
No, my mother-in-law's got one. Precious, she's just talking about buying the entire duplex.
So it could be multiple units is what you're saying.
Well, duplex is 2.
Is it? Yeah, it's 2.
There's 3.
Yeah.
So I guess what I'm speaking to is that if you were to purchase, say, like a duplex, or it could have a few units, one needs to be available for it to be a good transaction. Yes.
Be a
Murder
good
auction
transaction.
sales,
Like, so would it be a
Buy
good
it.
What'd you say?
I think to be the most beneficial, you'd want it to buy it empty without anyone in it.
Okay. That's my question.
Totally,
Okay.
Sure.
Yeah. Speaking of totally empty duplexes, I might as well put this out because it's going to already be listed. We have one coming up in Santa Clara, right near the airport, in an area that's kind of a combined industrial residential area. It's 2 units. It's totally empty. That's the good news. One tenant had been in there 20 some years. He just left, and the other person was only in there a few years, but there had been a bunch of rentals. So if you're looking for something like that, ping us. Go to our page. What did we end up calling it? Arrivva.com/active. Active. Okay. Arrivva.com/active. You'll see the property in Santa Clara. Click on it, get all the details, get the disclosures, get the inspections, make an appointment, easy to show. It's empty. And that's, an owner occupant would be great there. I mean, we're just looking for the best deal, best price. Here's the thing. This property is going to be at a price that is well under the 2-unit maximum for Fannie Mae and FHA.
Huh?
So the idea is you can actually get into this property by getting a type of loan where you buy it and they give you the money to fix it up.
Next.
There's FHA 203K and there's a Fannie Mae program. Can never remember the name, home something. But this is great for an owner occupant. And with FHA, put 3.5% down. With the conventional loan, it's 5% down. Fix it up, get a tenant at a better rent because it's going to be nicer. Upgrade the appliances and fix the floors, paint it, the usual stuff. Upgrade the bathroom to something modern and have it as part of your loan. So it can be done. So
Nice.
that's another way to add on to this. Now they'll do the same thing for a owner occupant situation only, even if the second unit is occupied. Or you can go for a triplex or a quad, 2 to 4 units. So these programs are
Nice.
available, and ping us for information and we'll be happy to go over it with you. But yeah, it's just a nice unit, it's like a $4 million house in Morgan Hill we have for sale, which is a little bigger.
That one looks crazy. That one looks absolutely insane.
1,089 square feet of everything, and outdoor
Huge.
space that they have 2 separate outdoor spaces. One is cemented and part of that cement is undercover. So you literally could have TVs out there or anything. And then all the grass space that's out there. And that is it here? No, it's not. This is our properties page, by the way. So you could see literally every property we've ever sold. This was current from a couple of weeks ago. There's this one. Yeah. That was a condo in San Francisco. And what do we see? I can't really see it. Anyway, we put all our properties on there. And when we do redo our website, which is coming soon, you'll be able to search by city, hopefully, all that kind of stuff, and see everything we've done in a particular city. And this is over many years, all this stuff, all the stuff we've done. Sellers, buyers, et cetera, et cetera. So
Nice.
that's what I got. Yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you.
No, pleasure.
Fred, my mind's stuck back on this tenant in common again. Could you paraphrase the issue? We started talking about something else, and
Well, talking about discrimination is really why I said it.
but I thought that tenants in common aren't subject to the fair housing rules.
Oh, yes, they are. Absolutely. Go on
Drew
the
is not
chat.
convinced.
You can condominiumize a TIC and then it is subject to it. But that's why there's so many people in the Bay Area, like must be a childless buyer. You can definitely enforce religion, I thought. Similar because it's outside of the condominium.
Yeah,
rule.
but I think it has to do, you have to state the subject information, something like that. But
And
when it
that's
comes
only
to mortgages,
fractional share.
you got to follow the mortgage rules. The mortgage rules have discrimination sites in it. Some of these TICs, like co-ops, I think it might be co-op and not TIC you're talking about. Co-ops can benefit you.
I think it is. I think it is a co-op.
Co-op different.
They're similar.
It's similar, but not the same.
And maybe that's where I'm confused.
But
Drew, you could ask ChatGPT to clear that up for you.
I did. I just grokked the real estate expert, fully skilled in the legal laws of tenants in common.
Oh, Drew doesn't need it.
Got a full rundown.
All right.
Okay.
Sorry, Drew. Sorry.
So according to Grok, fractional fair housing laws do not apply, and you have almost entire freedom to choose who buys your share.
in the TIC in California,
Mm-hmm.
you put California.
The only real limits when selling your TIC is the first right of refusal. So all the other members of the TIC have
Right, that I know.
chance.
Yeah.
Financing issues. Most lenders will not give a mortgage to a fractional TIC, and that once you condominiumize it, then all the fair housing laws apply.
Right.
Because you basically don't want to get stuck with someone that's in an entirely different lifestyle than the house you're forced to live in.
So they'll be
Good.
sharing like a hallway.
Yeah.
Or they'll be sharing like they're renting rooms out of a house, basically. Like they're sharing the
The
kitchen.
biggest example is the listing right here. It says that's why you'll see a Bay Area listing such as this: 25% TIC interest seeking child-free buyer, must love dogs. Perfectly legal.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because they live there, right?
That stuff, yes. What I'm typically saying is who to sell to. And if I'm looking at it, just race, religion, things like that these people come in and their name is foreign and they meet them and they talk with an accent and the buyer is, the sellers doesn't like them. And then they sell to Mr. White, Mr. Whitey White for a less price, then you got a discrimination suit. So that's why I won't let the seller talk
Yeah.
to the buyers.
We need to do deeper research because the question was, can I refuse to sell my TIC share to someone because of race, religion, family status, and gender? Yes, completely legal. The sale of a fractional TIC interest is treated as the sale of personal property interest in a joint ownership agreement, not the sale of a dwelling under the Fair Housing Act.
Right. But again, I'm worried about them discriminating against that buyer because of who they were. See, I'm being really specific.
That's where I got confused.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
That's,
so, Drew, you're more talking about the inhabitants of the dwelling, right? That they're able to make that decision because they're living in the tenancy. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah. If
Okay.
there's four of you that own a house and one person wants to leave, the other three have a say in the type of person that can live by that third ship.
Got it. As long as they live in the home.
Because they're going
Yeah,
into
that's what I
a
was thinking too.
partnership agreement.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Similarly to renting a home in your single
Yeah.
residence.
Because you do
when
have a
you-
say in that. Who
Yes,
lives
they're
with you and who
living-
doesn't.
Exactly.
Thank you for clearing that up.
just be careful out there, kids.
Be careful and don't trust what I did. I just typed it in very quickly. I might have even.
Grok.
Yeah, see.
I don't trust Elon.
Oh, Grok is fun. It's like conversational. The information's wrong there. Not kidding.
I don't know.
It's not
I
bad.
never go for coding. It definitely codes better than the other two platforms that I use.
It's just everything is just getting better and better and better every day. So, like, for example, does anybody use Sora anymore? Do you care about it?
I never have.
Did you, Fred?
Anybody can sign up.
You're the one that gave me my first invite. I sent you.
I
my-
know. And
Wait, do you guys have an invite? Because I can't get into the club.
You can get in now. It's completely open.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Mm.
But if you need an invite code, let me know. I got 5.
Okay.
So,
Well, it needs to be able to do something that's like.
I just want to make videos.
on for the 12 second.
yeah, but it's stupid. No, you're better off in Nano Banana. I mean, Nano Banana's the bomb. I mean, I'm doing my listing pictures in there. Right now, when I get listing pictures, I get them and I put them into Nano Banana. I don't hire anybody outside. There's no need to. Those people who've been doing digital staging and all that, they're done.
Hold on.
It's over for them. Eventually Nano Banana is going to do full video. It's insane right now. And we're probably the only agency in the country that is not only digitally staging a house with furniture, but we're putting digital people in them because the idea is I'm marketing your house as a lifestyle.
Yeah.
And so I want to show it. And you're more induced to look at pictures that have some kind of life to them and something going on. Eventually, if the MLSs get it get it together.
The MLS is never going to get it together.
Which
Come
they
on.
won't.
No, they're not. They're not.
But if there's some other, right, they won't. But
No.
if another MLS comes out or Zillow comes out and says, look, upload videos all you want. And we can upload a 5-second video of people walking around in the kitchen as opposed to having just a still picture. Something I'm talking about Zillow. I'm not talking about the MLS.
Zillow maybe, but even then.
Zillow is a maybe. Right. I have heard secretly there's somebody coming out with an amazing national MLS product. I know nothing more about it, but it's told to me by
Are you just saying that?
No, I'm not just saying that.
Is it you?
No.
Seriously, did you just
Like
look?
you, Drew, if you can figure out how to do it.
Come on.
But simply, AI's just been helping a lot, and it's going to help sell houses. That's really the bottom line. We use it for writing descriptions,
Oh yeah.
all the time. To see a description, fire your agent or don't hire them if they're going to use the word charming in the.
Oh my God. Can we get started on those descriptions? They're horrible.
Nobody really reads them to the
I
end.
read one yesterday when I was doing an open house, and it was this charming, blah, blah, blah. I'm looking at this apartment that I'm showing for rental. And I was like, it was so dusty and grimy. And I was just like, who wrote this? Because this is not charming. And this is not clean. And this is not, I don't know what they said, but I was horrified. They typed it into chat GPT for sure. Because I was scared.
They didn't even do that. They used their old script that they've been using for years.
It was bad. It was bad. It was under this underpass in Oakland. It was a thing.
Freeway close.
Yeah. Free.
So was the people underneath it though.
What they have?
So no, thank you.
Get free name.
No, thank you. No, thank you.
Hey, crack must be really cheap there too.
Probably.
You don't need to go out and
Thriving, independent markets right there underneath the underpass. There was a table set up. They were selling something. I don't know what they were selling, but I didn't go too close.
It moved.
I was like, oh no, heck no.
Well, that's the other thing we didn't talk about with rentals. If you have a squatter, forget it. Airbnb squatters are a thing now.
Oh yeah. No, I actually had a squatter.
Airbnbs.
My neighbors are squatters, which is crazy. The house sold 2 years. Yeah, it's crazy. The house sold 2 years ago, and they lived in it. They were renting, and the person who bought it, they just never paid. They've never paid rent. So the owner comes every so often to check and see what's like if they're going to move out. They have the sheriff come.
They have to be evicted.
Yeah, they've tried evicting them a few times, but he said that they lie all the time, and it's crazy because it's a nice neighborhood. It's not like I live in a place where you'd think that would happen.
Do you talk to your neighbors agree?
No, I never talk to them, and they never try to talk to me because I did. One day, the owner was in front of the house, and he asked me for help with something. He was like, "Oh, I'm trying," and then he told me the whole situation. So now they won't talk to me at all.
Oh my
They
Lord!
won't even look at me.
Now, what happens if everybody leaves? They just go to the store. The owner can change the locks.
No, you can't do that. It's illegal. They could sue you.
They do have a notice on their door that says that they have young children.
Oh,
which they don't. But I think that's one of the tactics.
Oh, they're playing all the games.
Oh, it's bad.
The
Airbnb
neighbors
and
all get
rent-
together and decide they're going to have a block party. And the block party is when everybody is away for 2 weeks and you hire a guy to come out with 2 massive speakers and just play Helter Skelter on a loop tape that aims right at their house. That might help.
Yeah,
Fred. Okay.
I wish it was drawn out this long because I would put a tent in the front yard and say, I own that property. I'm just going to live here.
Let's call this podcast Why You Should Never Be a Landlord.
True.
You're out of
Don't do
especially in
it.
California, you're out of your freaking mind. I know Jen has been in the property management business. I have. I think Mark has. And now
Really? Have you guys
obviously
dealt with
Precious has been indoctrinated into it. The bottom line is no. All these TikTok. Hey, dude, you can buy a 4-unit property with no money down and get it in and get cash flow and have the government pay you. And it's like,
No.
It's
run
best
from
if
this.
you buy a vacant property
Mhm.
without
Right.
any tenants.
Amen.
Or if you can get them on your lease before you close escrow, because I think that's where the guy across the street messed up. He never had them sign a lease with him.
What?
So their financial obligation is to the seller.
No,
Oh,
because
oops.
okay, let me clarify that. The lease is assigned then to the new owner. You can only be the lessor if you own the property. So that's the way the leases work. You just assume the lease. So the lessor, but it might have been a crappy lease from years ago, but it really doesn't matter. Even if you had him sign it, this guy would have pulled off the same stuff. He
Yeah,
just sounds like a creep.
that's horrible.
Tell the seller to call like Channel 4 or whatever and, have them investigate it and how
Yeah.
scammy tenants. Good tenants are great. Scammy tenants need to be told and what they can get away with and what they cannot get away with. And the legislature needs to see what's really happening on the ground, because every time they pass something, they blindly pass it. So the tenants are great. Because it's political, guys. Let's be honest.
Horrible.
If you're managing property in Montana and you don't pay, I think they can shoot you if you're one day late.
Really? Is
I'm
that
kidding,
real?
guys.
I'm just making that up.
No, I'm making that up. But I'm
Okay.
saying the laws in that state are a lot different than they are in cuckoo, California.
Oh, yeah.
We know it's cuckoo.
Oh, yeah.
Cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs with this stuff. And
That's why I live alone. Can't do it.
Yeah. There you go.
This has been another episode of We Fixed Real Estate, doing a deep dive into tenant landlord relations.